Today, I'm excited to introduce you to our Teacher of the Year 2024 to 2025, Teacher Courtney. And Courtney was a star from the get-go. She instantly booked up her availability within a matter of months, and she has accomplished a very rare achievement, which is to have 100% trial conversion rate. And what that means is every single family that we introduced her to decided to enroll. Students love working with Courtney so much that they'll even rearrange their schedules just to continue working with her. So what's Courtney's secret? Let's dive in and find out.
Hi.
So you just won Teacher of the Year 2024 to 2025. And what that means is that you have scored really well on all kinds of categories as a teacher. Your students rooted for you, and our admin team has been really impressed. So how do you feel?
I feel great, and honestly, I knew there was an award like this because I knew Robert was the Teacher of the Year last year, but it was never on my mind, so I'm just very surprised and also excited.
Oh, good. Nice. Well, what's the reason, or what's your system for creating connections?
Right.
Everyone has their go-to system, and your system seems to be working pretty well.
So I make sure that in our lessons we have a little chunk of time. When we're switching between activities, there's always that little tiny 30-second break of time where I'm taking a notebook out or we're taking a new piece of paper out, a new book, and there's just that little bit of downtime where I can talk to them about their life, and it's not even related to piano.
Mm-hmm.
During the school year, it's related to school. During the summer, it might be
Yeah.
related to their trips or what they're doing during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So it naturally comes up because I know we only have a limited time together. I teach a lot of 30-minute and 45-minute lessons, and that time can pass by pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So any time where we're in the transition period, I just sort of bring it up. And what I like about that is it allows them to lead that conversation. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah. How else do you help them lead? Or why is it important for students to lead when you're working with them?
First, it's important for students to lead the lessons because it gives me an idea of their understanding of what we're doing. It also gives me an understanding of what they like about what we're doing, because there are so many components to learning a piece of music that I can tell which part they gravitate towards based on how they talk about a certain section, or whether they're interested in learning about playing it by ear, by looking at the sheet music. It's nice to be in tune to that and allow them to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So during Teacher Appreciation Week, we did like the special where if a student gave a review on a teacher, then we would give the teacher a bonus. And you won that contest.
Okay.
You had the most amount of students leave a review
Yeah.
talking about how awesome Courtney is. We love Courtney. So clearly it's working.
I think I have a good relationship with both the parents and the students. For most students that I teach, the parents are at home, so they're listening in to the lesson and what we're doing. So I just try to be prepared. I try to come prepared for every lesson and try to respond to the student in the moment. Because sometimes the student might have an off day, and that's totally okay, right? But I have to be present with them for the whole entire thing. I can't just flounder. And I think the parents know that because of that, they're in good hands. Because there are a lot of aspects to our lesson time. I like giving them plenty of materials to work with, because if something's right in front of you, then it's easier to work on it. It's easier to remember to do it.
Yeah.
That's why I like having stuff written down, lots of arrows, sticky notes, because there are different approaches to helping your child practice during the week. And I have a few students who have me as their teacher, but their parent also plays the piano. They just don't have the time to dedicate to teach them from scratch. So I feel grateful for them to help out during the week. So there's also instruction for them to do that.
Great. Okay. Next question for you. Do your students like to practice?
I don't know. So let me say that I don't know if they like to practice, and that's something I want to work on, because I know that during our lesson, like, it's very engaging. As a teacher, I feel like part of the appeal is that I can I'm trying to find a way to make any passage, even if it looks kind of boring or simple, to make it interesting for them. So here's one of the practice strategies that I like, is small sections plus the first beat of the next section, so they can practice the transition over from a previous one to the next one.
Yeah.
I feel like students like to practice when they feel like they're getting it. So I'd never like to leave a lesson in the middle of something when they're still in the confusion phase.
Yeah.
They have to at least get to a place where they feel good enough that it's good enough that they can practice on their own.
Yeah.
So
it's clear.
Yeah.
Easy to follow.
Yes.
Easy to do on their own, because they are doing it on their own.
Right.
Yeah. So you're setting them up to be successful while you're not there.
Yes.
It's great.
It's different for every student, because I teach a wide range of age ranges in the student. I think my youngest student is 6. And then for the students who are kids, my oldest student is 13. And then I have one adult student. So I have to change my approach every time. But the material is, there are connections between every musical, how do I say this? You can learn pretty much every musical concept with an infinite amount of songs. You don't have to rely on one method book. If that isn't working, we have to, change it to something else without them feeling like this is too difficult. She's giving me something easier because I can't do it. Like, you have to introduce things slowly and not present something to them that's too out of their reach before they're ready. What's interesting about having one-on-one lessons is that the teacher creates the environment for them to learn in that 30 to 45 minutes. And sometimes I will present something that's simplified for the student so that they can learn that. Like, okay, just quarter notes and eighth notes for this song, even though the song might actually be more difficult, and then later on we'll introduce it in a different way.
Sounds like you're very sensitive to what they need, and you can quickly adapt to how they're responding to it. If it's a little too much pressure, then you know how to slide back.
Yes.
And if that's not working for them, that's okay. You have another method book.
Yeah.
That's great. Not all teachers can do that. So it's really nice that you already have that sensitivity to knowing this is not going to work. I can see the signs already. You don't have to wait for week 4 to realize this is a fail. Like, I can already see it going there. And we're going to avoid those failure feelings. So we're going to switch course.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of little things that come up because I want to introduce to them a good technique starting from the beginning. Because it's not just about notes and rhythms and hearing. There's also the physical aspect of playing the piano. And I wouldn't expect an insane amount of coordination from a 6-year-old. They might be able to hear the music and understand it, but to be able to reproduce it on the piano is a little different, which is why I think finger exercises are important. With a couple of my students, we've been focusing on 5-finger scales. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can't reach all of that with your 5 fingers. So one thing I help them understand is that when I talk about finger numbers, that's totally different from C, D, E, F, G. You can place your fingers on different parts of the piano. I don't want them to feel like, okay, I'm in C position and that's the only position I know on the piano. I can only play these, I can only play C, D, F, G on the piano. It's good to get them moving, like there's 88 keys on all keys of the piano, even if they don't understand what they're doing yet. Sometimes I would introduce something that they don't quite understand conceptually, but their fingers are learning to play certain things, like to play on the black keys, for example. I like to use solfege.
Yes.
So,
okay. Tell me about solfege.
The solfege syllables are useful because it gets your students to sing. Even if they aren't voice students, I just want them to get a picture of what it means to make a noise and hear the pitch back to you. And it's okay if it's not in tune, but they can realize that each one of those syllables corresponds to, a finger that I'm playing or a note that I'm playing. That's really helpful for ear training.
Okay. Yeah, it is. That's something I never tapped into. And it sounds like it would be, it's just another dimension. You add voice and you really do amplify the ear and getting used to pitches. So that is a lost opportunity for me. I didn't use that one. It's good.
Well, that just shows you can teach piano in all sorts of ways.
Oh yeah.
Because I do have some students that we don't use the solfege. Some students really like knowing the note names, and instead of notation, as a bridge to notation, I'll write the note names, but in directional symboling. So say, there's a phrase that goes C, D, E, and then I would just write C, D, E going up. So that's been helpful because then it shows them that, because when you're first learning music notation, C looks like, two different things on the treble clef, like in your right hand. So that's harder to conceptualize than having a C that's down here in the middle area and a C that's up, like a letter C that's up there. So that's been useful for me. And if there's any chords, we'll just write them in a block, like vertically. So
yeah, cool. How do you utilize ear training in your lessons?
So I enjoy using lesson books a lot because they have some interesting enough songs for students to learn, and they're in a small enough box that you can learn them in like 1 or 2 weeks. So it makes them feel like they're progressing, and it makes it sort of feel like school in a good way, that it's structured. But if there's if there's something that they're having difficulty with, sometimes I'll sing what note they're supposed to get to, and that will help them get to that note. And that's one example of how ear training works within a notation setting. Because the goal when you're learning notation is to be able to look at the sheet music and to hear it in your head or to play it on your instrument. But that's like a really tough skill. So the approach that I have is the keys first, because the fingers have a really great muscle memory. Then your ears listening and even humming back or singing. And then the notation, because they all feed into each other, right? So on one day, notation might help, and another day, ear training might help. So it's just whatever works in the moment.
Okay, very nice. What do you admire about your students?
Oh, there is a lot I admire about my students. I'm lucky as a teacher to have the kindest and most curious students. It's really great. And I think kids are that way naturally, but I've also gotten lucky with that.
Okay, good. I love it. I've had a couple of teachers that are like, oh, I won the lottery with my kids, with my students that I teach, and I'm happy to hear that we scored well, that you have a good group. It's good. Do your students make you laugh?
Oh, for sure.
They have some funny characters.
Well, all of my students are different. Sometimes I can be a little goofy, and that can make them laugh. But sometimes that doesn't work for other students. So I actually change not my personality, but I just change the way I approach the lesson depending on the personality of the kid and how I know they feel about piano lessons.
How do you make lessons fun for your kids where they look forward to seeing you every week?
I think lessons are naturally fun when the students feel like they can get something right or they discover something new. And one fun thing that I have in my bag is like a multicolored pen. So it's
Ooh, I
easy
remember
to
those.
to pick. So it's easier for them to pick out different sections of my notes to see what to work on. So it's just it's those little things that make it fun. I used to have these really boring stickers, but now I have like these smelly stickers that the students love.
Nice.
So it's fun.
So not smetzels, but smelly.
Yeah, they like
scented
scratch
stickers.
the scratch and
Oh,
sniff
the
stickers.
scratch and sniff stickers. Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
It's funny how much these little things just bring so much smiles to
Yes.
the lesson, right?
Yep.
And so much curiosity. There's something like, ooh, yeah, I'll work a little harder for that.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When I started teaching here specifically, I had never used a whiteboard before, but now that's one of the main tools that I use. Yes. So I love using the whiteboard because my students love to learn to draw what they see on the page. Because think about it, you have this book that's on your stand and then you're just sort of reading it, but you're not really physically interacting with it or writing in it, which is why I love worksheets and writing activities and drawing out notes. So this isn't a game, but one of the activities we'll do is to write, out in steps all the way up from C all the way up to G, for example, 5 notes up, and then we'll just repeat that for 5 times.
Yeah.
We'll repeat that 5 times and then play it through and see how fast they can play the
that's
C, D, E,
great.
F, G.
You add an element, a competitive element into
Right.
it.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
What else has changed since you started working with piano and more?
Oh man, as a teacher, I've definitely become more confident in my value that I provide. Just because, yeah.
That's great.
Just because that's why I feel so proud of being the teacher of the year, is because it affirms to me, no, this isn't just in your head that you're doing well. It's not just that. It's that the parents and students actually do want you to keep going. It's not just out of convenience that because you already have set up lessons. No, they keep choosing to continue with lessons, which is a great honor. I have a general plan for each one of them, but none of it is really focused on progress, just because I know each week is different and things come up. So it's more so that I have this idea of a trajectory for everyone. That being said, I'm so astounded by the progress that my students have made.
That's wonderful. I'm sure they can feel your pride.
Yes, because I think in some of my students, it's not as visible, but I can see it in their confidence with the material that we're working on.
Yeah.
With some of my other students, it is more visible.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt about it when they could perform a new piece, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible of this one metric that you have been leading ever since you've started with us, and that is the trial conversion metric.
Oh, I see.
Which is 100%. And what that means, every single student that we've sent your way has decided, Courtney is going to be my teacher. I want to move forward with Courtney. That is amazing. Not a lot of teachers can say they have 100% conversion rate. That is really incredible. So I just want to know, how do you do it? Is there a method? Is there a trick? How were you able to get every single student that we sent your way to join as a member with you as their teacher?
I think that's an incredible metric. That's interesting because it makes sense to me because I've been teaching for so long. I've been teaching in, different ways since high school, basically. So I have a lot of experience under my belt. And at the trial lesson, they're expecting you to lead and for you to be prepared. So that's what I do. I know I have questions for them when I have that initial meeting, but besides that, it's just about meeting the student at the piano. And we can start with ear training. We can start with the whiteboard. I mean, we won't start with well, it also depends on the experience. Say I'm at a beginner student's house. They've never played piano before.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that I do is tell them about the piano and try to explain it in simpler terms. Because what I love about piano is that the arrangement of the keys makes it perfect to understand general musical concepts better than, well, in my opinion, better than, say, a violin or guitar or any other instrument, because there are white keys and black keys. So, and it's also easy because, you can start with where they're at, which is they've probably typed on a keyboard of some sort, whether it's touch typing. We can work with just your index fingers, right? We just work with one finger and then play through the notes. Let's go, through steps. Now, can you do skips? We'll skip over one note each time.
Yeah.
So those are some ways that I like to make piano a little more approachable. Because, of course, anybody can approach a piano and play keys and sort of simulate playing notes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is probably the first time somebody has asked them to play the piano and inquired them about what they were hearing.
Yeah.
So another thing I think about when doing a trial lesson is that I want to set it up in a way that makes establishing a longer relationship easier.
And what I'm hearing is we do serve two different kind of clients, right? We serve the family, not only the student, and most of our students are kids. So we work with students, but we also have to make sure the parents are happy with the progress and how things are progressing. So I always like to look at both angles. Like, what do the parents see in you, and what do the kids, the students, see in you? And from listening to you in this interview, it seems like to me the parents are really impressed with you and really are happy to enroll and continue with you and even want to hold on to you. Like, I heard you want to transfer some students. We called them and they're like, no, we want to stay with Courtney. So they want to hold on to you. And I think it's because you have mentioned being prepared and having resources and being able to adapt to someone's needs. They see the value you bring, and they can see all the work that you've done beforehand. And they're like, wow, we're getting a lot of value with Courtney. Like, she is bringing her all. And this is really important to her. And we know we're getting like our child is going to have an investment that is worth it. And then for the kids, I can see all this preparation and how much thought you put into everything just makes them feel really special and really seen. And they're like, oh, this adult is really nice and really cares about me and really cares about my happiness. And that's a warmth that not many people experience. Like, it's something that they will remember. And yeah, I think you really have really given that to them. And that's wonderful to see.
When I joined Piano and More, I never had done in-home lessons before. It had always been at a studio or virtually. Unfortunately, that was a time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something I really appreciate, because with my schedule, it's been pretty seamless to go from house to house and meet students where they are. That really is a convenience that I like to have for them. Because they're at home and more relaxed, they can stay in at-home mode even though I'm there. It's sort of like I'm a visitor, I'm a guest to their house, and they're welcoming in. So that they're welcoming me in. So that sets the tone. And the thing about Piano and More is that I've never seen a company that did that in this way. It's modern and it makes sense. So I think I thank all of like the admin and Nicole for the training that they've given us and all the resources. The schedule that's set, right, for students and the teachers is agreed upon, and it's reliable throughout the year. And we can always talk about changing schedules, but there's a consistency throughout the year, which is great for teachers.
Yeah.
And one other thing I'd mention about working for Piano More is that I've grown the most as a teacher in the year that I've been working at
I love
here.
that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and doing this interview with me. This is the first time we've interviewed like a teacher of the year in a formal setting, and it's not like through a screen. So this was really nice. Thank you for your time today, Courtney.
Thanks, Nicole.
And there you have it. Thank you so much to Courtney for sharing your story with us. You can really see that her soft approach, her dedication to her students, and the way that she has this ability to just connect with so many different types of students, that truly positions her as a very unique teacher. And we're so grateful to have teachers like Courtney on our team here at Piano and More. If you'd like to see more teacher spotlights or more behind the scenes stories, then please subscribe. Check out the links below to learn more about private music education. And until next time, keep the music going. I'll see you in the next video.